So now that we've pretty much confirmed that the CS market is in a massive dip, we've seen prices dropping even more upon what they were dropping the past few days. I want to really talk about what you should be doing when this dip really reaches the bottom, what skins you should be buying, the most profitable ones, and the ones that have so consistently given great returns, along with the case market as well. So let's get started. So just to show you guys some long-term charts as to what pretty much the whole market looks like right now, I'm going to pull out the M4 Howl just to show you guys a high tier skin. I don't know why I forgot the name of it, but show you guys a high tier skin first. And you see, these high tier skins don't really move that much in price. I've covered it in so many videos. They sit consolidated for a pretty long time. Sure, it went up like 10% over like, what is that, a year, but not really much. And then they just blow up because the rest of the market blows up. And this pretty much happens with everything. Of course, we saw field tested towels peak at around 6 grand. And already down to about 4,400. I think they could get all the way back down to like 3,600 as well. As I've said a million times with these skins, I think probably everything is coming back to pre-hype levels, if not just extremely close to it, because this whole move just happened in a few months' time. Maybe best case scenario, it only dips to 4 grand. And I don't know why I consider that best case scenario, because I want to buy one of these. So hopefully it does dip to 3,600. I think that's to be expected as all these long-term holders take profit and take advantage of this dip. Of course, if we look at a more high-tier knife like the Butterfly Doppler Phase 2, of course the Phase 2s have had just a massive amount of hype recently, and they're not really that rare, obviously, compared to sapphires and rubies. There's relatively a decent amount of these things in supply. Of course, there's a lot more demand than there is supply. Obviously, as you can tell by the price, this thing well over doubled in price, even from longer ago, it like quadrupled in price. So, but now we're starting to see there's like 6,000 of these things in existence, and it doesn't take that many sellers for that price to come back down. It didn't take that many buyers to bring it back up as the rest of the market went up. Won't take that many sellers to bring it back down as the market goes down. This is another chart that looks very similar to the M4 Howl, and it's pretty much what the entire market looks like right now. At bare minimum, I'd expect this thing to come back down to 7 grand. Best case scenario, I'd expect it to come back down to these pre-hype levels once again. Early this year, late last year levels of like 5 grand. This is pretty much my thoughts on the entire market and when you should be buying. Now, as you could tell, an M4 Howl, I'm looking at the field tested one for whatever reason, went from 3,500, 3,600-ish, to about, like, we'll just say 5,500 peak. Like, that's probably a level you could have reasonably sold at. You probably couldn't get out at, like, 5,900. There is insta-sell sites where you could have gotten close to that, but still. Either way, this thing moved, like, 2 grand in price. We'll just call it that. A butterfly from the same time period, a butterfly phase 2, moved about 10 grand. 10 grand for this thing. It's insane. This video is sponsored by Skins Monkey. If you've been looking to trade out your old boring skins for new ones, Skins Monkey is the place. By clicking the link in the description, you'll get a 35% deposit bonus when depositing with cash and crypto, and up to a free $5 bonus on your first trade. So be sure to click that link. Skins Monkey also has the freebies tab where they run 24/7 giveaways that are completely free to join with crazy skins. And if you're looking to actually get your hands on some good skins, Skins Monkey is the quickest way to do it. So be sure to get that free $5 and 35% deposit bonus now, trading your CSGO skins with that link at the top of the description. Now, I don't think the Phase 2 hype is going anywhere. These skins look sick. People love them. People love them more than rubies in some cases. This thing was like on par with how expensive rubies were. But with that being said, there is still a relatively large amount of them in existence, and this price is going to come crashing down at least a couple $1,000s in my opinion. Of course, there was this dead cat bounce that I talked about as well, where it got up to like 10,700. It's so hard to zoom in on this chart, and that was like a $1,000+ increase, almost $2,000 increase across a single day. I told you guys not to buy that. I thought it would come lower. Thankfully it did, and I don't look stupid. I think it's going to come even lower, and the next time we see a crash, the next time we see a bounce, hopefully it just consolidates for a long time like it did back here, giving you plenty of opportunity to buy. You hold this thing for a year, and hopefully it runs back up to all-time high prices like this, because people could look back and see at one point this thing was worth $13,000. It could very easily get there again. Now, of course, once again, don't buy now. You're going to have better opportunities to buy. I guarantee it. That's why I'm waiting. If you want a more safe skin to hold, or you're just looking for a play skin that won't move that much in price, you could buy Howl. But once again, a lot of market just acts really similar. So if you're solely in it for the money, I would buy phase twos when prices really start to consolidate and go completely sideways. Because the market really does the same thing, except some skins just do it way more than others. And once again, I think phase twos are always going to have way more demand. Now, another thing with this as well is cases. Of course, we don't really see cases 4x in price over that short period of time, but they do have massive results. As you can see, actually, this thing almost did 4x, it like 3x since January. Got to about $30 at peak. Obviously, extremely hard to sell at that level. Only 200 of them sold, and you could reasonably have gotten out at like 20 bucks or 30 bucks. So we could call it like a double in price. Cases obviously great as well, and a lot of them have almost had full retracements in price. I still think the glove case is gonna come down a little bit more to these $12, $13 ranges. But if we look at something like the Gamma case, it was on the front page. It ran away from me. One sec. Okay, the Steam Market doesn't want to show me the second page, so I guess I'll show you Spectrum case. Spectrum case almost doubled in price, about 70% up, and then came back down. These are the sideways levels you want to start buying at. And the great thing about dips like this as well is the amount of these on the market comes down by so much. A very good example of this, and one of the cases I have held for many years, is a CS20 case. If you go back and just check my videos from a few days ago, there was 10,000 of these listed. And if you go back and check from like 2 weeks ago, there was 15,000 of these listed. Now, there's 5,000 of these listed. They are coming out of supply. And obviously, that price is going to move up. I hope you guys don't call me a manipulator for this, because I've talked about this case a lot, and since then, it's it's up like 50% in price, because I started talking about it again at like the $1 range. So I hope these aren't from me, even though I kind of do. I'm not going to be selling anytime soon with these cases. At like $5 I'll sell. But when we see massive hype spikes in the market like this, these cases are getting gobbled up. They're getting opened. They're getting bought and hoarded for, I mean, there's just not that many out there anymore. As I've covered in plenty of other videos, in the rare drop pool anymore, way more people are unboxing them than they are coming into supply, and that's one of the best investments you could have. Obviously, you would want to be buying a CS20 case still at like $1.50 here. I would be completely fine with it. I hold about 1800, something like that. And if we look at any old chart, like the breakout case I'll pull up, for example, and I've showed this 100 times as well, these are the things that you want to buy during the dips. I wouldn't buy the breakout case right now, because I think it's getting to the point where it's like too expensive than the butterfly knife. There's butterfly knives in other cases. The CS20 case, there's no classic knives in other cases, which is why I like it more. But if we go back to the breakout case when it was at like $1.50, wow, look, it like consolidated here for a long time. It went through some random dips, some random spikes, but mostly just consolidation, slowly going up in price as supply keeps decreasing, and then eventually it has like this big move. And it doesn't come all the way back down, because cases normally don't. Like I just said, there gets to be so much less supply out there after a big move from people hoarding it and people unboxing them, that it just won't come back down to that original price it was at before. Obviously, skins are different, because skins don't just magically disappear in supply like cases do, but this is why I like cases so much. It's why I like the CS20 case so much. Long term, we're going to see this same chart with the CS20 case. It's pretty much undeniable. Of course, there is some other great cases in the game as well, like the Spectrum case and the Gamma case. Personally, I don't like buying $6 cases. I'd rather just buy skins, simply because cases are a bit of a pain in the ass to sell. But I mean, I like just sticking with the cheaper stuff for the most part. If anything, I'm buying phase 2s here. And me personally, just for my own reasons, I just kind of want to howl, especially if it gets back to 3,500. I think it will. I think it's a safe bet that that thing is going to stay at this level, as, once again, that's mostly what happens in the CS market. That's what I would stick with, a howl, and maybe a butterfly phase 2 or a karambit phase 2, since they're some of the most demanded. I don't think they're going to stay at this level very long. They're going to come back down thousands of dollars lower. If I get a good entry, that's what I'm doing. You should always buy the most hyped items when they go sideways. I mean, sure, you could go buy yourself an Op Lightning Strike, but that thing like essentially doesn't move in price. You could buy an AK Bloodsport, it doesn't move that much in price. Blue Phosphorus and old Operation skins just go sideways for extremely long periods of time, have massive blowups that you'll barely catch because they last like 2 days, and then they just come back down to normal levels. Once again, phase 2 is completely different, and that's the stuff I'd stick with. Gloves have really had their time to shine. We'll see how much lower they get. Obviously, the glove case is extremely expensive at this point, so if they come back down to normal levels, I think they'd be great as well. The only bad thing about gloves is there could come a point where Valve just decides to release new gloves. And I don't know why they haven't yet, but they very well might, and that would not be good for the older gloves because, I mean, you can't really make that many different pairs of gloves. So that might be bad for the prices. And they are still one thing I would buy, the glove case gloves, if they come back down to pre-hype levels as well, simply because they blew up so much, and they will blow up extremely again if we get another market hype spike. It could very well take a year or something, but that's why you buy at these consolidated prices when they just go sideways for a long time and nobody's moving anything around that much. But that was a lot of yapping from me. So hopefully you guys are making money in this market as per usual. And thanks to Skins Monkey for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out with that link at the top of the description. Make some profit, be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.